If I were to ask you how many sources of energy we use and deplete in the process every day, your answer would probably no. It would probably be no, right? Not only the U.S., but the world as a whole's lack of conservation is more than disappointing today, and it's vital to our generation that we learn about the different sources of energy we use, how these sources affect our environment, and how we can expand our capability of conserving our environment by creating new sources of energy that we can designate as primary energy sources rather than the traditional sources we use every day, presently. I believe this is an important topic because it's important that our generation conserves our environment for our future generations, like our kids and our grandkids, and so on. With that said, there are a couple of points that I'm going to be talking about today. The different sources of energy we use every day, how these sources are finite, how they ultimately affect our environment, and the different possible alternatives to these sources of energy. There are different types of energy we use in our everyday lives. The main sources of energy that we currently use are nuclear energy, fossil energy, and renewable sources like wind, solar, and hydropower. Nuclear power is the use of nuclear fission to generate heat and electricity, and nuclear power plants provide about 6% of the world's energy. Fossil energy includes energy sources like coal, oil, and gas, and these three are our primary sources of energy today. The current use of wind, solar, and hydropower has helped us to make a more energy efficient world. These sources of energy are renewed in the fact that they're converted to electricity as secondary energy source, which flows through power lines and other transmission infrastructure, which eventually powers our homes and businesses. Renewable energy is recycled energy, whereas fossil fuels, which is where we get most of our energy from, are limited, and our current yearly usage of these energies are going anywhere but down in the future. This is also the case for nuclear energy as well. Although fossil fuels have been known as a traditional energy resource, scientific research has shown us that its end is inevitable. According to researchers at electricity.co, our known oil reserves will be gone by 2052. This is due to the fact that globally we use over 11 billion tons of oil and fossil fuels every year. Additionally, with the rise of population and expansion in technology and a heightened need for energy around the world, the expected amount of fossil fuels used is going to rise every year, increasing the overall amount of fossil fuels available to us. Gas production could substitute for the loss of oil. However, it's estimated that too would run out in about 2060. If oil and gas reserves were completely depleted, we could substitute coal production for the two. However, that would also run out, and it's estimated that it would run out about 2088. Fossil fuels are finite, but that might be the best thing for us because the carbon emissions they produce are more than harmful to our environment. According to the UNFCCC, which stands for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, the threat from increasing concentrations of greenhouse gases has become a serious issue for the world's governments. If trends continue, atmospheric changes due to human activities could alter our planet's life support systems. The UNFCCC proposed a plan for developed countries to lower their carbon emissions by 5% lower than that of levels in 1990. According to Discover magazine, fossil fuels collectively produce 95% of the carbon emissions that are heating our planet today. Although renovating energy systems and methods of producing energy would prove costly to countries' economies, there are possible solutions to help skew the adverse effects caused by our current energy resources, because with the evolution of technology in full effect, improvements in energy efficiency are also on the rise. EVs, which stand for electric vehicles, have been introduced and are far more efficient than traditional transportation. Scientists have also been able to turn algae into oil, and some oil may contain 60% natural oil, which genetic engineers can boost to even higher levels. Expanding renewable energy resources like solar, wind, and hydropower is going to be extremely important for us because it will more than likely become the primary source for energy for us. In conclusion, I've talked about the different sources of energy we use every day, how these sources are finite, their effects on the world's overall climate, and possible alternatives to replace these energy resources. As time goes by, our generations will learn to become more energy efficient because science has shown us that without action, our current energy usage is going to be detrimental to our environment's well-being and in turn, our well-being. What we do in this world not only affects us, but also future generations. Our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so on are all going to be affected by how we treat our world today, tomorrow, and so on. So it should only seem right that we learn to preserve our environment so that our future generations may have the opportunity to experience the great environment we have today.